When you ask the question, what good can someone outside the community do for us? But from my perspective, I came from a very special place where I grew up in Jane and Finch. I did all my schooling in Jane and Finch. Most of my friends are in Jane and Finch. And now I'm influencing programs to help people in Jane and Finch. So that's what motivates me to stay in the community, because I have a stake in the community, right? These programs not only speak on my name, but it also speaks on what Jane and Finch could bring. You have all the businesses down there. You have so many financial districts down there. Your access to money down there is so much more, right? When you ask for donations in Jane and Finch, people are gonna laugh at you because they're barely going through it themselves, right? So how much donations can you possibly get from Jane and Finch? Most of the money that we have to get are from outside the community. But if Jane and Finch was like the downtown core, you had 50 businesses just on the street. That's 50 opportunities to get funded or get some community donations, right? We have such amazing community partners, right? Like I would love to say that, for example, I worked at the No Frills at York Mall. So when I was working and then we had to do a community event, I reached out to Danny. He's such a great owner. He's such a great community advocate. He said, yes, I would be interested in it. And that's what we did. After he came in, he gave us a really, really good donation. And he's helped support us every year since. So he did so much for the community. I had a relationship with him because I worked there, right? So that's what motivates me to stay in the community, because we wouldn't have been able to get that donation if someone didn't personally know him like I did, right? So I have a stake, I have relationships in the communities that you can't buy. So that's why I stay in the community. I love the community. The greatest challenges that I see in Jane and Finch, I say the education system for sure. The education is not the same education that you see at different TDSB schools, and I think that's very unfair and is disappointing at most. A lot of that has to do with like poor resources. I know for a fact we didn't have the best textbooks. We didn't have the teachers that cared about it. We had teachers that did care, but it wasn't enough. Like when you have students that came from marginalized communities, kind of like disadvantaged families in a sense, or broken homes really. Like that's the type of stuff that some of the teachers were actually going above and beyond, right? They were connecting with you, hearing their stories, like, and that's what helped me with my education. I knew that education was going to be the reason I like come out of Jane and Finch and because I needed to know better, right? If you know better, then you do better, right? So education, I would say job opportunities in Jane and Finch need to improve. We don't have access to, and I always bring it back to downtown because that's the most prevalent, right? So many people have to travel to downtown to get a good job, right? So why can't we have good jobs in Jane and Finch, right? What about Jane and Finch can't give good jobs, right? And we all know it's probably the environment in the sense of like what infrastructure, right? So going into infrastructure now, right? We need to have more higher institutions over here till we get paid, right? We have a good university by there, but how much of them hire Jane and Finch people? So those are would be my top reasons what Jane and Finch needs to improve on. You're in a point where everyone thought it's just all the immigrants are causing problems in Jane and Finch. Problems happen everywhere, and I hate that when someone says that about Jane and Finch. I'm like, so there's no other people in other communities? So, but I feel like they focus more on Jane and Finch because there's more black and brown people in Jane and Finch, right? Why are you gonna get out of a community that's more black and brown, but crime is everywhere, right? It's only when certain communities that they could go at, really. Right? If crime happens, then okay. But does that mean that maybe because there's no funding in the community? If everyone had a household medium of $80,000, there's not going to be a lot of crime because people are busy. Proper resources for families, right? When people are coming from different countries, they're coming from situations that are war torn. You're coming from refugee situation, newcomer situations, right? And you're not really given enough room to adjust to the society that you're in the Western society. It's so hard for yourself, right? It's hard to figure it out you're in a rut if you don't see it. I think the humor, I think there's so much humor in Jane and Finch, the jokes and everything. Like I said, I was a class clown, so you're around different culture, you're around different, so you hear what other people are joking about, how they joke, so you get to pick up on that really, right? So that's why I said humor is top A1. I think Jane and Finch, and I think that's what we need more of, more comedians, right? When people make jokes and stuff, they don't see it as a career path. You could be a successful comedian, it's possible, right? But that's not the traditional career path for ourselves, right? People say doctor, lawyer, engineer. If you're a comedian, I don't know what that is, right? Why would you want to do that for yourself, right? But now we're in an age where digital media, the internet, right? You could tell a joke and guess what? You go viral and now you have people calling me like, hey, we want you to perform here for $500 or whatever. For 1 hour? Okay, I'm calling the wave, right? That's a career. And I'd say also resilience is a big part too. Jane Finch has been bogged down by negative media, police, different institutions have education. Like I said, there's so much things that bring us down. But the thing about Jane Finch is that they'll let you know that it's like we want more, really, right? And I think that's the attitude I come at now, and I learn from different aspects of it. But I learned it in Jane Finch is that never be satisfied with what you have, right? You could always have more. You could always want more for yourself, even, right? And that's where the adaptability comes in, because just because I play basketball doesn't mean I can't play soccer. I'm doing a program, Gestalt psychotherapy training program. It's a 5-year program. It's very intensive. But now I'm about to be in my 4th year in September. When I was in my 1st year, there was so much resistance because I wasn't given a space to like vent and share my emotions on a weekly basis, 6 times a month. You know, resistance is assistance. So the thing that was kind of like you were avoiding, that's what was helping you at the same time, right? I've seen all the people that supported me in my journey, so I wanted to pay it forward. I wouldn't be here without the people that believed in me, and now I'm in a position where I'm able to support other youth, right? So when they become older and they become at that capacity where like, hey, you know what? Like, look at what the work that our youth violence prevention program supported you with. Look at all the relationships you've fostered, because mind you, I'm 27. I'm transferring all the knowledge that I have into youth that are younger than me. So guess what? When they become 27, they have so much more to work with, right? And I think that's the beautiful part, is that transferal of knowledge is the future, right? We all know this, right? Especially in Jane and Finch, and I think this is a strength for Jane and Finch, is that people from the community come back, right? Versus other communities, I can't really speak on what they do over there, but I know in Jane and Finch, so much people come back and they mentor the next generation, or they share their knowledge, or maybe their resources or networks, like they open it up. There's no gatekeeping in Jane and Finch. We know each other from so many other places. And if I was gonna work with someone, I always work with Jane and Finch, because I know what it means to them. And I know that they just need that first opportunity and a second chance. And that's actually one of the guiding principles for the work that I do, but also at FYH. First opportunities and second chances. You can't have the first without the second.